Welcome to episode 7 of Gaston Digital Great Ideas. I'm your host, Chris Goodson. Working with students when they aren't in the same room with us can be a challenge. Today we talk to a teacher about working remotely with elementary school children and what that has taught her about differentiation and delivering content in the clearest way possible. But first, if you're enjoying the show, be sure to like the episode and click that subscribe button. And now, on with the show. All right, we're here today with Jenna Markwith. Jenna, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am currently a second grade virtual teacher. So I meet with my kids Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday on the computer. I don't get to see them, so it's a little different. But this is my first year teaching second grade.
Okay.
I taught grades 3, 4, 5, and then I spent a couple years in the middle school and then made my way back to elementary world.
Okay. So second graders, all remote.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how that's gone. I mean, how has that changed the way that you present assignments to students? I know it's a big difference.
Yes. So when I first started this, I was like, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. This is going to be no problem. We've got Schoology. Let's just roll with it. But I quickly learned, because I have students from 7 different schools.
Gotcha.
I've definitely learned that some schools, their children are more prepared as far as technology use goes, which has been a hurdle, because I have some students who have yet to complete a Schoology assignment because they find it hard to navigate the learning management system.
Yep.
But then I've got, on the other end of the spectrum, students who are so comfortable and they teach me stuff and they'll say, oh, Ms. Markwith, you can just do it this way, or you can click over here. So it's definitely been a challenge with the littles, just as far as the balance on what we can and cannot do. And I'm starting to see the divide, because some of my kids are ready to take off and push Schoology to the limits. And then some of my students are, hey, can I share my screen with you? And you walk me through it one more time. And I mean, we're halfway through November, and we're here.
And it's really funny, because I'm seeing that at all levels. I'm having teachers tell me that, from second grade all the way up to high school students.
Yes.
And that's something I've talked about with people for years, is that we assume just because they're kids, they know technology somehow, and they don't. And they don't always at the same level. And that's something that we have to prepare for. And in the classroom, I think it's a whole lot easier to kind of pave over that, because we're there with them. But it's a lot harder when
you just go up to them and say, oh, look, click right here, click here. But here it's the whole process of, okay, can you share your screen? Some of them at the beginning didn't even know how to share the screen with me. So we had to start basic there. Okay, click here. Because a lot of them, believe it or not, even second graders, their parents are not around necessarily to help them pull up the assignment or do the work. So it's definitely been a struggle in that component of it. Yes.
Part of that you mentioned a little bit about the organizational piece, about, being able to find things and being in order. That's something else we're seeing. So what are some things you've learned about that? What are some insights you've gotten in the last couple of months about how to organize things in an LMS to make it work better for kids?
Okay, so I have actually changed my LMS, my Schoology, 3 times.
Wow.
Because I've been trying to do things that work for my kids. And I kind of told my kids that up front, that boys and girls, I'm a person that if I see it's not working, we're going to change it. So they've worked with me on that, because I started off with the playlists, just giving them the full shebang, go for it, have your choice. That wasn't working. No. Then I attended a training with the ITFs on embedding the playlists as like a slide for learn it, practice it, evidence of learning. Well, then I found that still even giving them 5, 6 choices on the learn about it was too much for them. So yet again, through another training with Teresa and Christy. And Chrissy, I am now building 1 learning plan a week with the learn about it, practice it, and evidence all in an assessment piece. And so that way they just have 1. But that's worked for me, because then I can differentiate it for what my kids need.
Gotcha.
So I can say, okay, I've got these 3 groups. This group is struggling with fractions. So I can say, okay, you 3 are going to work on this learning plan, and I can push it individually to them.
So yeah, so in that case, it actually works a little better, because once you can identify what their needs are, you can push that out, and that's what that works in Canvas and Schoology, the ability to push different assignments at the same time to different groups based on differentiation. That's great, and that's another, what you mentioned about too many choices. That's something else that we're, we always talk about choice and voice being good, but too many choices and they tend to shut down. That's what I'm seeing a lot of.
Yes,
does that fit with you?
Yeah, and I haven't had the chance, since I have not physically met my students, just knowing their learning styles is taking longer. So I can't say, okay, you are more of an auditory learner. These are the choices that are best for you. And if I tried to explain that through the computer, I think it would get lost. So this way, especially with the littles, the second graders, this is just where we're at now. Maybe eventually in January, February, we could get to that point. But for now, that's what's working for us.
Okay. So, so you talked a little bit about parents. How are you encouraging parents to engage maybe a little differently than you have in the past to help their students be successful?
So I've been setting up, I do a today's agenda on my Schoology, because I have a lot of parents actually that work, and the kids are home with 95-year-old grandma, and I get messages all the time, grandma doesn't know how to navigate XYZ. So, and then the parents come home at night and work on it. So one thing that I've really helped, I just do a simple slide with math, ELA, science, social studies, small group phonics, and I link the assignments through there. So that way, when the parents get home, they can just click. They can see if the work's been completed, turned in, if they need extra assistance. I found the simpler, the better.
Clear and simple. Absolutely. That makes sense, especially for, and for a while, I guess you're probably getting there to the point where, the kids are seeing it all the time.
Yes.
And the parents aren't seeing it as much. But they have like a window of time where they can figure this out. And they're like, oh, that was something I ran into, because my daughter's remote as well. So that's something I was like, okay, wait, you see this clicking too fast. Go back and show me, this part. So that makes a lot of sense, that you're giving that good, clear, simple way for the parents to look at it. I like that.
And I've learned that too from being a parent whose children are using Schoology. Because sometimes Henry will come home and he'll say, okay, Mom, here's my Thursday work. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know Schoology, I should know how to do this. But there are times where, his teacher just sets it up differently.
Exactly.
So I've tried to just make it as clear, concise as possible.
And that's something else that I've thought about as well. Just both platforms, Canvas and Schoology, have a lot of different ways you can customize it. Just as a philosophical thing moving forward, what do you think we should do as teachers? I mean, I don't want to say all teachers must do it this way, but at the same time, if everybody's is completely different, then the further along kids get in school, the more confused they're going to get. I mean, where are your thoughts on that? I don't know.
So I kind of go back and forth on that, because as the teacher and the parent, some days I'm like, wait a minute, how do I not even know how to find your phonics assignment when I'm doing this every single day? But at the same time, I think it's a level of comfortability for teachers, because like I know when I meet weekly with my PLC, some of them are like, we don't even put assignments on Schoology because we are not comfortable with it. And then you've got some teachers who are hacking the system, and they're doing really cool things with it. So I think it's kind of just as the teachers become more prepared and more trained on it, and because think about Google Classroom. We used it for how many years across the board, and teachers could use it for the most part. So I think we're on that learning curve. Definitely, but we're definitely up and down. But I think as we become more proficient and more comfortable with it ourselves, we'll be able to do more and more features. Like, I would love to look back on this in 5 years and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was such a basic, generic person on Schoology, to see how we grow.
That's something I've been encouraging people to do too, is to really kind of take stock and reflect as much as you have time for on how you're doing it now. Not so that you can say, oh no, I'm awful at it, but so that in a couple years we can look back and say, okay, what have we learned? And how, in this time, and how can we leverage that to make it better? Because like you said, we're all still new at this too. And I think, like you said, I think sort of what the best practices are is something we can't figure out until we get proficient with it ourselves. And I think that's why it's so good to just kind of listen to students and listen to parents and listen to each other and kind of build that knowledge base up and start to feel out that consensus for what works. That makes a lot of sense.
And I definitely agree with you, listening to the parents and the kids, because the kids will tell you when they don't understand, and the parents will tell you, because I learned at first, my kids were having a hard time doing on Google Slides, like putting a text box in to answer the question. It's little things that I'm comfortable with, but I'm like, wait a minute, they're 7. They have no idea how to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
They haven't been taught that. So I definitely agree with that statement.
Do you think what aspects do you think, just off the top of your head, do you think we will keep once COVID's over? Because it's not going to last forever. We'll be back for the most part in class. What aspects of all this do you think we'll end up using more when we're all back together in the room?
So I know, like, especially through the Modern Teacher platform, the learning plans and just that differentiation piece to it, because there are so many options, like you said, to push out individually. It sounds like Canvas does the same. Just that individual piece for each of the kids, I definitely think will keep. And I also think it's a great piece for, when sickness does arise or kids are on vacation, or it's a great place to just throw the information as like the landing page. And I can kind of see it being like portfolios. For kids to kind of, okay, let's upload some of our work, and then you can track how we've grown and how we've, progressed throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, Jenna, thank you so much. We're about out of time. This has been great. I really appreciate it, and good luck with the rest of the year.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you want to find out more about the topics we discussed today, head over to our website at bit.ly/great ideas. And don't forget to check out bit.ly/Gaston Digital for the latest resources and professional development opportunities for your tech facilitators. If you have ideas for the show, message me on Twitter. I'm @Goodson. Have a great week.